You know that incredibly specific, slightly terrifying feeling when you push open the heavy double doors of a new building for the very first time.
Oh, absolutely. Your stomach just drops.
Right. Maybe it's a new school or a corporate office or, I don't know, a massive industry conference where you literally don't know a single soul.
Yeah, your heart rate ticks up, your palms get a little sweaty.
Exactly. And suddenly you feel this intense, almost crushing pressure of having to present this perfectly polished version of yourself to complete strangers.
Which is, impossible to actually do.
Right. But we have all been there. And if you're tuning into this deep dive today, you're probably looking for a way to absorb the smartest strategies for handling those exact situations efficiently.
Without feeling completely overwhelmed by, dense social psychology textbooks.
Because nobody has time for that.
No, they don't, and it is a universally daunting human experience. I mean, the stakes always feel incredibly high on day one. You want to be perceived well, you want to belong.
And the sheer mental effort of trying to figure out how to navigate that social maze can leave you feeling completely paralyzed before you even open your mouth.
It really can.
Okay, let's unpack this because today's source material actually tackles this head on in a way that, frankly, genuinely surprised me.
Oh, for sure. Me too.
We are looking at an instructional module from a program called English with Ava, specifically episode 28, which is titled Mastering First Day English Conversations.
Right, which sounds pretty basic at first glance.
It does. On the surface, this is an English language learning lesson designed for non-native speakers. But our mission today is to look right past the vocabulary list.
Yeah, we're digging deeper.
We're going to deconstruct the exact framework this source provides. Because hidden inside this simple language lesson is a surprisingly profound masterclass in human connection.
It really is.
It holds a mirror up to basic human psychology and reveals so much about how we interact when we are at our most vulnerable.
To understand how this framework operates, we have to look at where the source begins. The hosts of the lesson, Ava and Alex, they don't just jump straight into grammar rules or vocabulary flashcards.
Right, no conjugation charts here.
Exactly. They start by establishing an emotional baseline. They explicitly acknowledge a core truth right out of the gate, that the first day in a new place might be exciting, but it naturally makes people feel nervous.
Which is so validating.
It is. They validate the anxiety before asking the learner to do anything else. And their proposed antidote to that nervousness isn't to, take deep breaths or visualize success or pretend you aren't scared.
Which is usually the standard advice, right? Just picture everyone in their underwear or fake it till you make it.
Yeah, which never actually works.
Never.
But their antidote is entirely practical. They state that the cure for this specific anxiety is knowing a few simple English phrases to immediately build confidence. They introduce a foundational script.
What's the script?
Yeah, it's essentially just, "Hi, my name is Ava. Nice to meet you."
Okay, I have to push back on this a little bit.
Sure.
Because when I read that, I thought, isn't that incredibly robotic? Like, if I walk up to someone and deliver a canned, perfectly rehearsed line like, "Hi, my name is the blank, nice to meet you," aren't they going to think I'm completely devoid of personality?
I get that.
It feels like the opposite of making a genuine connection.
It might feel that way in a vacuum, sure. But we have to look at the biology of what is actually happening in your brain during a first day scenario.
Okay, hit me with the science.
When you walk into a new environment, your brain often perceives it as a social threat. Your amygdala triggers a release of cortisol, which is your stress hormone.
The fight or flight juice.
Exactly. And when cortisol floods your system, your working memory, the part of your brain responsible for holding and manipulating new information, it is severely compromised.
Oh, wow.
You are experiencing a massive cognitive overload, processing new sites, new rules, and scanning for social threats.
You literally cannot formulate clever sentences. Your brain is too busy trying to keep you alive.
Precisely. When your cognitive load is maxed out, you do not want to be searching your mental database for the perfect, witty opening line. Attempting to be clever introduces mass risk.
Because if it goes wrong,
If a joke lands flat or a witty observation is misunderstood by a stranger, your anxiety spikes even higher and the interaction just derails.
makes so much sense.
So a scripted, universally understood phrase like "nice to meet you" simply removes the friction from that initial contact.
I love thinking about it like a social parachute.
Oh, I like that.
Like when you're jumping out of a plane or walking into a room full of strangers, you are in a free fall of nerves.
Yeah.
You don't want to be up there in the sky trying to invent a brand new, highly creative way to fly.
Right, you'd crash.
You just want to reach over, pull the ripcord, and know exactly what is going to happen. Hi, my name is... That is the parachute. It's not supposed to be interesting. It's supposed to get you to the ground safely.
That's a great way to put it. And it provides a safe, predictable bridge between two strangers. Once you are safely on the ground, so to speak, then you can start showing your personality.
But surviving that initial parachute drop is really only half the battle, because once you've introduced yourself, there's always that terrifying, awkward silence where you have to prove you actually have a reason to be talking to this person.
The dreaded pause.
Exactly. How does the curriculum handle that gap?
They provide a case study, right?
They do. They provide a natural conversation example between the characters Alex and Ava to show what deploying this parachute looks like in real time.
Okay, set the scene for us.
What's fascinating here is the precise choreography of the dialogue. It happens in very specific, purposeful beats. Alex initiates by asking if it's Ava's first day.
Right.
And Ava responds with immediate vulnerability. She admits, yes, it is. I'm a little nervous.
Which feels like a huge risk.
Yeah.
Admitting you're nervous to someone you literally just met seconds ago. It is a risk, but it acts as a powerful social catalyst. And that's because of how Alex handles it. He doesn't ignore her nerves, and he doesn't launch into a story about his own first day to steal the spotlight.
Which is so easy to do.
Yeah, we all do that. But instead, he offers immediate reassurance by saying, don't worry, and then he deploys that baseline introduction we just discussed. My name is Alex, nice to meet you.
Boom, parachute deployed.
Exactly. He creates a safe space. But he doesn't let the conversation stall there. He swiftly moves to gather information by asking, which class do you have next?
And they discover they both have English class. And Alex instantly jumps in with, me too, we can go together.
Right.
I want to pause here for a second because this challenges a major assumption I've always had about networking and making friends.
How so?
Well, we are always told that connection is built on deep shared interests. Like, we both obsess over 1970s sci-fi movies, or we both play the cello, so we're instantly best friends.
Right, the typical advice.
But watching this rapid-fire interaction unfold is the true secret to making an initial connection, not about shared hobbies at all. Is it really just about finding an immediate shared objective, like surviving the walk down the hallway?
I think you've hit on the core mechanism of early relationship building there. In a high-stress environment, a shared objective is infinitely more powerful than a shared hobby.
Really?
Yeah, because a hobby is abstract. Finding the English classroom is an immediate physical necessity. By saying, we can go together, Alex transforms them from two isolated individuals facing an intimidating environment into a team.
Oh, they become a micro-community of two.
Exactly. It instantly lowers the threat level of the environment for both of them. There is evolutionary safety in numbers. They have a shared mission, which entirely removes the pressure to make small talk.
Because the walk to the classroom is the conversation.
Yes. You're just navigating together.
That brings up a really interesting point about how we manufacture those shared objectives. Because the lessons framework leans heavily into logistical questions as a social strategy.
It really does.
It suggests phrases like, where's the science classroom? Or which class do we have next? Alongside more personal probes like, what's your name?
And this is a brilliant tactic for navigating rejection sensitivity. Let's look at the dual function of a question like, where is the science classroom?
Okay.
On the surface, it is highly functional. You genuinely might need directions. But psychologically, it acts as a brilliantly low-stakes invitation for engagement.
I was thinking of it as a Trojan horse for friendship.
A Trojan horse. I like that.
Yeah. You walk up to someone and pretend you just urgently need to find the Bunsen burners, but what you are actually doing is testing the waters to see if this person is willing to be an ally.
That's a perfect analogy, because if the person doesn't want to talk, maybe they're having a bad day or they're also incredibly anxious, they can simply point down the hall, say it's that way, and walk off.
And your ego is completely protected. You haven't been personally rejected. You just got the directions you asked for.
Exactly. But if they are open to connection, they might say, oh, it's down the hall. I'm actually heading that way. Are you in Mr. Smith's class? The logistical question opens the door just a crack to see if the other person will pull it wide open.
It's entirely safe.
It is. Furthermore, the source pairs these logistical questions with targeted personal questions, like, which subjects do you like?
Why that specific question, though? Why not, like, what do you do for fun?
Because asking which subjects do you like in a school setting allows the other person to be the undisputed expert on their own preferences.
Oh, that's clever.
Right. People generally feel secure talking about what they know, and everyone is the world's foremost expert on their own opinions. It's a very generous way to hand the conversational spotlight to someone else, reducing their cognitive load while keeping the interaction flowing.
So you found an ally, you've survived the hallway walk, you've successfully used your Trojan horse. But once you walk through the door of the classroom, the entire social dynamic flips on its head.
It does.
Because now you aren't just dealing with peers. You have to deal with the person in charge.
Yes, navigating the authority figures. This brings us to a crucial shift in the curriculum.
Right.
The source provides specific phrases for talking to the teacher, such as, "Excuse me, can you help me?" and "I have a question about the assignment." Notice how dramatically the register of the language shifts here.
It's much more formal. It's polite. It's structured.
Yeah.
You aren't saying, hey, where's the science room? You are explicitly asking for permission to interact, like, excuse me, can you help me?
If we connect this to the bigger picture, this progression actually reveals the ultimate arc of the curriculum. The lesson isn't just giving you a random assortment of sentences. It is equipping a learner with the tools to code switch.
I love that concept. It's like shifting gears in a car depending on the terrain.
That's exactly what it is.
Like, you wouldn't drive up a steep, rocky mountain in the same gear you use to cruise down the highway. The peer-to-peer language is your highway gear. It's casual, it's about building momentum and alliances. But the student-to-teacher language requires a different gear entirely.
And why do we code switch? It isn't merely about showing deference or being polite. By using formal language with an authority figure, you are actively signaling to them that you understand the rules of the hierarchy.
Oh, interesting.
When a teacher or a boss sees that you respect the established social structure, they are fundamentally more willing to offer you their help and guidance. It's a survival mechanism within an institution.
Here's where it gets really interesting for me, though. After you've navigated the peers and the hallway and the authority figures, the lesson focuses on what they call feeling comfortable at school.
Yes, step 5.
The phrase they teach here is, I was nervous at first, but now I feel comfortable. Think about how profound that is for an introductory language lesson.
It's huge.
They aren't just teaching a student how to ask for a pencil. They are actively giving them the vocabulary to process their own emotional journey.
It is a remarkable moment of metacognition. Metacognition is, simply put, thinking about your own thinking.
Right.
By providing the exact words to describe the shift from anxiety to comfort, the lesson is actually helping to physically solidify that transition in the learner's brain.
Wait, how does that work? Does just saying it actually make it true?
In a way, yes. When you can name your emotional state, when you can look back and articulate, I was nervous, but now I'm comfortable, you take ownership of your experience.
So you're in control again.
Exactly. The human brain needs to categorize events. By verbalizing that the threat has passed, you are signaling to your amygdala that it can finally stop producing cortisol. You are no longer a passive victim of your nerves. You are a person who has successfully navigated a complex challenge, categorized it, and grown from it.
It's like putting a bow on the whole first day experience. You survived, the threat is over, and you have the words to prove it.
Precise.
But of course, understanding all of these concepts intellectually while listening to us chat is one thing. Actually doing it when your heart is pounding and you're staring at a room full of strangers is entirely different.
Oh, completely different.
And the source doesn't let the learner off the hook here. They conclude by emphasizing that true confidence requires active, structured execution.
They pivot from theory to a very demanding, actionable blueprint called the practice task. The host, Ava, challenges the listener to introduce themselves using exactly 5 sentences.
That's 5.
Just 5. You must state your name, your favorite subject, your favorite hobby, and then you offer something unique about yourself.
Okay, I actually tried to do this while reading the source material, and it is a surprisingly brutal challenge.
It's harder than it looks, right?
5 sentences feels short, but you have to pack so much identity into that tiny space. I was sitting there thinking, okay, Nate, I'm the host. Favorite subject, history, I guess.
Yeah.
Hobby, I read a lot. Wait, is reading too boring?
You start overthinking it immediately.
Completely. Now, should I say I like hiking? I haven't hiked in 3 years. Unique trait. I have double-jointed thumbs. No, that's terrible. I sound like a weirdo. It really exposes how hard it is to distill who you are on command.
And your struggle right there perfectly demonstrates why constraints breed confidence and why this must be a practice task. Your brain immediately went into evaluation mode, judging every detail.
Oh, big time.
When you are improvising, you either overshare out of nervousness or you undershare and give people nothing to connect with. This 5-sentence challenge acts as a meticulously engineered, self-contained elevator pitch.
Because it forces you to hit very specific social markers.
Precisely. Let's break down those markers. Name establishes your basic identity. Favorite subject establishes your academic or professional persona, offering a potential point of connection within the immediate context of the building. Favorite hobby opens the door to your life outside the institution, inviting a deeper, more personal connection. And something unique about yourself is the wild card. It's the memorable hook that makes you distinct from the 50 other people they met that day.
It gives the listener a complete, well-rounded profile. And the core philosophy of the source really shines through in their justification for this task. The character Alex gives a piece of advice at the very end.
He does.
He says to keep practicing, keep speaking, and keep improving. The underlying message is that daily practice is the only thing that actually destroys the fear of speaking.
It demystifies the entire concept of charisma. It takes the magic out of being, good with people and reveals that social confidence is largely just a set of practical, repeatable tools.
So what does this all mean for you, the listener? Whether you are literally learning a new language, starting a new corporate job, or walking into a terrifying networking event, the real takeaway here isn't just about memorizing a script.
No, not at all.
It is a fundamental mindset shift. It's about treating every single daunting new environment every first day, not as a pass-fail test of your human worth, but simply as a repetition in a much larger practice routine. You walk in, you deploy the parachute,
Right.
you use a logistical question as a Trojan horse, you code switch when you need to, you process your nerves, and then tomorrow you do it all again.
We've seen how simple, targeted phrases act as powerful levers to transform the isolation and anxiety of a new environment into genuine social connection. But this raises an important question, and I want to leave you with a thought that builds on everything we've discussed today.
Okay, let's hear.
This entire source material focuses heavily on what you should say to feel comfortable and make friends when you are the vulnerable new person on your first day. But what if we flip the script entirely?
Oh, I like where this is going.
If we know for a biological fact that these specific, simple questions like, which class do you have next, or where are you heading, are the exact keys to unlocking a nervous newcomer, reducing their cognitive load, and putting them at ease, how can we use that knowledge?
Yeah, from the other side.
Exactly. As people who might already be deeply comfortable in our schools, our offices, or our social circles, how can we actively deploy these exact same basic questions to rescue someone else who is visibly having their own terrifying, overwhelming first day?
That is such a powerful way to look at it. You don't just have to use the parachute to save yourself. You could be the person offering the parachute to someone else who is currently in freefall.
I love that.
It changes the whole dynamic of a room.
It really does. Think about that the next time you see someone hovering near the doorway of the break room, looking a little lost. Thank you so much for joining us for today's deep dive. We hope you feel a little more equipped, a little more confident, and ready to tackle whatever heavy double doors you have to push open next. Keep learning, keep practicing, and we will catch you next time.